name's Jacquelyn Randle. I'm a parent, I'm an educator, I'm an education advocate, and my kids go to school in the Riverview School District. I started in private school and then participated in Destig, and then I slowly transitioned into public schools. So I kind of got to feel a little bit of magnet and regular public and the differences in how they are as far as when it comes to equity. I could say from a student standpoint. I stayed in West St. Louis and I went to school in Kirkwood. It was just what I had to do. Like I didn't, my mom didn't like the choices that were available for us. So DSEC was the route we went. Um, I personally had a good experience with DSEC. Um, I want to say the only reason I left was I finally got my slot at a magnet school. So a slot finally opened to where I could transfer to a magnet school. I felt more welcomed when I was at the magnet school than Kirkwood. Like I didn't have any like horror stories like I hear from some kids that went to DSEC, but I just felt it was a different type of experience, like feeling. Yeah, this is our first year of like school, and I can say the part that we go to, I can't speak for like everyone in the district. I can say the school we go to, it really is a community school. They do have the teachers that know everybody's name in the building, and they know the parents, and it reminds me of like the 90s almost. Um, and they've really, surprisingly, they went above and beyond to kind of make sure that the families get it, from the laptops to dropping off packets or dropping off food, or just how they've really extended themselves way past just the classroom. So I was pleasantly surprised this year. Between the pandemic and um, just everything you hear about the district, I didn't have high hopes of liking it at all, to be honest. So, I think my only concern would be once they go back into the classroom, the academics part. I know, we're pretty much, from education standpoint, is going to be starting at the baseline versus the middle of the year, compared to like a traditional school year. So they'll basically be starting all the way over. So this is August. So if they go to school in March, this basically is August for them. So that's my concern, but I think it would be like that anywhere, just because the kids have been at home and haven't had that full experience yet. Or she was in the Normandy district. She was at the Early Learning Center, and it's pretty good. I was again like surprised, and it may just be because I'm an educator. I like their like academics, so I didn't expect them to be as thorough as they were with the academics for the younger students. So the teacher piece of me makes me think that somewhere a disconnect happened. So maybe it's the transition to first grade or second grade. Somewhere something happens, because on the lower level, they're actually performing really well, curriculum wise and teaching wise. So I don't like, somewhere there's a disconnect for the scores that we're seeing. In education and just going in through the process of getting my degree, you kind of tour different school settings. So you tour private, you tour Catholic, and all of that. You tour the different types of schools. So I kind of was open to charter for the academic side of it, because they are high performing. And then, of course, you hear like the charter rumblings. And so I was like, okay, I'll have to like observe and see. And so as she's been going, just growing up, I've been asking different people who are in charter settings, from like the teachers to the parents, like, how do you like it? Have you seen this? And I think it depends on the actual school you're in and the management of that school. If you get that that like military style charter, or you get that community school charter. I think it depends on the admin, and just their thoughts about education and their thoughts about the students. But as far as the leadership school, I actually heard about it through, I guess, the founder. We were working on something and she mentioned it, and we started participating in like the spring break and summer break activities. And I actually like just fell in love with it, just the way that it's modeled, because it isn't just the high performance piece, but it allows them to be themselves, to ask questions, to kind of, push back. So if you say, what color is the sky, and of course it's blue, but we know it could be pink, orange, whatever. So it gives them that freedom to push back and then extend of why does the color, why does the color change in the sky, and it goes, kind of left or right or whatever. But it's a big comparison to what you see in a traditional public setting. So I love it. Like, I love what I've seen so far. We are looking for property in the Normandy district to before school starts, to make sure she can qualify and get over there. Because I love the model. It's rare that I'm like, oh my God, I love this, because, being in education, you kind of see the whole spectrum. But but I actually love the whole program, and just the way that even the people that they've had work with the students actually push them, where I've seen regular teachers, and I know they're stressed this year, but regular teachers be like, oh nope, it's 3 + 2, it's 5, and just stop and leave it at that, versus break down why it's 5 or the different ways to get it or what have you. So I'm definitely eyeing like a couple properties to move that way. Perfect world, you shouldn't have to. In a perfect world, you should, be able to choose if you want to go to your neighborhood school, or you want to go to this science program that's over on the other side of town. Like, I feel like there has to be a way that we can make that better for parents, where it may not be the Destig program, but it may be, hey, they'll open up X amount of slots, it's a lottery or what have you. And I feel like that's a little bit more fair than you just being stuck in whatever district you are in, even if it is a more quality district. Like, you may not want your kids to go to Clayton. You may want them to go to the STEM school on the south side, or the performing arts school, but you don't have that option. So I think it's something needs to happen with that, for sure. I've been teaching for, I think this is year 17. So I just look super young. But I've been teaching for about 17 years. I go all the way from birth to 3rd grade. So this is just my jam, and trying to figure out what's right for her, right? Because like, I'm in the classroom, so I'm seeing, what curriculum really works and what is just curriculum. And so it has been like a very interesting like world of being a parent and an educator, and they're hitting like that starting point, because you want to start your kid with a good setting. You want them to like school. You want them to be excited to go to school, and you want to give them really good experiences. Because we know if they don't have good experiences, then after so long, they kind of just go through the motions of school and don't even, you know, have any ambition with it. Out public, private, and charter. So that's why I think I have a more like, it really does depend on the school and leadership, how the school operates towards families and how they get those results, because there are some public schools that may not be in the best area, but they have very good leadership, and that leadership fights for their students and, puts in place whatever programs they can to see those results that you would see somewhere else. And then you have some privates that are just private schools and, exclusive, and aren't doing anything that the public school is doing. So I think you really have to be aware of what will work for your kid. Every family is different. And with that, you have to meet that family where they are, where some parents don't know anything about education and they think that all schools are the same, and some parents are in the know and know that, okay, if I want my kid to fast track to this college with this many scholarship opportunities, I need to set them on this path. And parents should have that option. Parents should have that information to choose what's best for their kid. Their kid may love robotics, so why shouldn't they have access to that school, even if it is being put on a wait list or what have you? At least you are giving that family like a fighting chance at a good education that's tailored to them, because we as adults see in our own life, like, I'm better at online school versus in-person school. And kids are the same way. I'm better if, you just run through it and you show me versus you just talking. And so we have to really be aware of that and choose for our kids what's going to work for them. Because if we don't, they just go through the motions, and then you get that senior that doesn't have that ambition to go to college or go to trade school or start a business. They just want to be done with school. And so I think it's very important to have school choice, because it really does set them up for that next level, even if they're young.